This is what is interesting about this connector. Unlike many others, this one has an audible and tactile feedback when you made the two parts. This of course gives you a better locking confirmation, even if you cannot see it. Imagine how helpful it would be in situations when you lock the door, you're on your way to work, and then suddenly you can't really recall if you actually locked the door, which makes you anxious, but you are not really going back to home to check it. Perhaps Amphenol LTW would like to patent a door lock with such spring-loaded mechanism and add it to their impressive patent library with more than 300 patents worldwide. What's even more impressive is their offer of circular connectors, and that 70% of their products are tailor-made for customer needs. No wonder why Amphenol decided to join forces with LTW, which probably wouldn't be possible without a great management from Mr. Luke Kahn. Fortunately, I had a chance to meet Luke during Elektronik 2024 and ask him to tell us about the X-Lok.
Blind meeting connectors. It's for the special application, not special. The ideal situation is where you have many connectors and you don't want to lock by hand or screw in. It's blind meeting, so you don't need to see it, you just feel or hear it and it's locked. Okay, so it's for where your product has many connectors, or where it's difficult to do installation, or where it takes a lot of time, and X-Lok is the ideal product for you.
If you would like to know what we can expect from Amphenol LTW in the near future, check the full interview from Elektronika 2024, link in the description. And now the X-Lok is also a great example of Amphenol LTW customization. Unlike many connectors that have only two options, male with male contacts or female with female contacts, the X-Lok contact configuration is massive. If you take a look at this master plan table, you can find many variations for each X-Lok size and the amount of contacts. For example, the standard B size with 5 contacts can be male connector with male contacts and female connector with female contacts, but it can also be male connector with female contacts and female connector with male contacts. And it is available in many forms such as receptacle, overmolded with cable, or field installable. However, there is one exception, for now at least. The panel-mounted connectors are always male, but even here, Little Bird told me that female panel-mounted connector is in development. And should I even start with the accessories? Overmolded with cable, L adapters, T adapters, T adapters, panel mount, waterproof caps, terminators, straight adapters. In other words, you can direct power, signal and data wherever you want with ease. Another advantage of the X-Lok is it is available in almost any size imaginable. Like imagine nuts. So you have macadamia nuts, almond size nuts, walnut size. Not sure about the coconut because a coconut nut is a big nut, but we have 5 main sizes: mini, mini, ultra high density, standard, middle, large and macro. And you can get those from TME.eu. But not only. At TME you will find thousands of high quality components from trusted brands, and 96% of the orders are fulfilled, guess what? On the same day! So you can get started on your projects without delay. Just like the order fulfillment in TME, fast and simple, so does the assembly of those connectors even in the field conditions. That's why we have left the warm studio and came here just before before the TME warehouse. Okay, anyways, the connectors that we are going to assemble are the X-Lok D-size field installable with 5 contacts. The connector itself is made of thermoplastic, copper alloy, silver coated contacts, rubber gasket and an O-ring. All of the connectors except the macro are available in 4 termination techniques: solder, crimp, screw-in and push-in. Macro's termination techniques are crimp and screw-in, and we are going to show them both. The screw-in for the female connector and the crimping for the male one. And you know, you don't need to be a brainiac to do this. ALTW has very good assembly instructions, if it is in a video format or on paper. It also tells you what the wire gauge and what the appropriate seal that you have to use. And for example, here we are going to use this blue seal. Let's start with the female side. The first step is to slide the sealing nut, the sealing and the back shell onto the cable. The second step is to strip about 27 mm of the outer sheet and 5 mm from the conductor's insulation. Third step is to insert it deeply enough into the contact so you won't see any wires. And now what's left is to tighten those little screws with up to 0.84 kg force centimeters. The fourth and final step is to put everything together. Start with the connector and the clamp ring, insert the seal and tighten the sealing nut with the suggested torque. Crimping is very similar. First step, you slide the sealing nut, the seal and the back shell onto the cable. Second step, you strip the outer sheath and the conductor's insulation, depending on the current ratings. Third step, you crimp the contacts and insert them into the connector. And finally, you can assemble all by first tightening the connector with the back shell and then the back shell with the sealing nut. And done. If you have doubts, have no doubts, test, at least a continuity test if you need. And this connector, well, maybe not specifically this X-Lok, but the X-Lok series has about 200 different applications in various industries, like marine, broadband or renewables. This is of course because it is tested to the extreme and made of durable materials. For example, this salt spray test has at least 1000 hours. It's insane! 1000 hours of salty water spray is about 6 weeks. During these 6 weeks, 15 kilograms of salt is used. This is enough salt for 5 years for a human being. With 15 kilograms of salt, theoretically, I can cure 600 kilograms of meat. This is a whole cow. You know what? Anyways, if you learned something from this episode, is that if you have doubts, have no doubts. And that's why I designed my own experiment. Here is 15 kilograms of salt. No, I'm kidding, there is no 15 kilograms of salt. But what I do have is a water hose. No, we are not going to submerge the connector in water. What we are going to see is if the connector can hold water. I know, it's a felony in many countries because this is an electrical connector, yes, connected into a pneumatic pipe. Here is a pneumatic fitting, and on the other side, yes, here we have another adapter. Somehow, everything works, everything connects, so we should test it, okay? Now we connect both, okay, easy. And now we can turn on the water. And look, the water goes, whoa! And it's no surprise, it holds the water. Well, I hope you had as much fun as I had. If you have more ideas on how we can test those connectors, let us know in the comments. And if you have already decided, go to tme.eu. I go there every day, I come here every day, and I'm still alive. But we will see after this day with this weather. Special thanks to Mr. Luke Kahn for the interview and the wonderful team at Amphenol LTW. Yeah, so see you later. Skidoo!